Hey guys, Zibboyeye or just Zib is fine, and today we're looking at some Tokusatsu goodness courtesy of Takashi Miike. In this video we'll be looking at the creative's comedic homage to classic Japanese TV heroes in Zebraman. Zebraman began life as a mere number, 100, that is Show Aikawa's 100th leading role. For this monumentous achievement, Aikawa requested Takashi Miike's assistance. According to the director, Aikawa teared up, begging for a part reminiscent of Naoto Date, better known as his alter ego, Tiger Mask. Thus Miike began picturing Aikawa in spandex. Surprisingly, screenwriter Kankuro Kudo was on the same page. And what followed is the striped subject of today's double feature review, so let's spring into action and look at Zebraman. The film follows third grade teacher and father Shinichiro Ichikawa. His wife cheats on him, his daughter ignores every word he utters, and his youngest is bullied for being the teacher's son. Disrespected at home and work, Ichikawa's only escape is dressing up as Zebraman, a hero from a failed 70s TV program. However, Ichikawa's life takes a turn when he finds himself endowed with powers straight out of his favorite show. Encouraged by a new student, Shinpei Asano, donning mask and mane, Ichikawa lays the smackdown on criminals. Could Zebraman be his ticket to respect, or will it land him in more trouble than he bargained for? Let's start with the visuals. The color grading uses limited saturation to mimic an old TV show. It's not my thing, but I get what they're going for. I'm fond of the night shots though. The lighting distinguishes environment features with pinches of notable hues. Fitting since Ichikawa is most comfortable at night when he's free to dress up as Zebraman. Which brings me to our unexpected hero. Aikawa plays Ichikawa's awkward nervousness and heartful passion perfectly. When Ichikawa first suits up, I was hooked. He's such a lovable dork. His heroics have all the charm of an adult living out his childhood fantasies. Which, considering Aikawa's tearful request, I suppose it is. Beyond his acting prowess, Aikawa is the best man to play Ichikawa. The school board expects Ichikawa to behave like a grown-up professional. Instead, come nightfall, he plays superhero dress-up. Similarly, Aikawa is known for his roles as Yakuza toughies, but here, he's a doofy nerd. It reinforces the theme of being yourself regardless of how others see you. Aikawa is Zebraman, and I mean that in every sense. The actor opted to perform his own stunts. It demonstrates the trust between both director and actor. Though the movie does not brim with action, the fights are bombastic and entertaining, which can describe quite a few Miike works. Speaking of as expected, the film is home to some memorable Miike-isms. New term I just coined there, such as the introduction of Zebra Nurse. Who wears a helmet the shape of a penis head? It's a dream sequence, so fair play. The movie need not rely on its weirdness for laughs though, with its considerable funny bone. It has good timing, and it knows the strength of silence. You may think Zebraman is a riot of a viewing, and admittingly it can be, but the tone isn't static. It begins somewhat heavy. Act 1 opens on a newscaster recounting serious crimes. The first foe Zebraman faces is a murderer having just claimed another victim. However, the film is far from a gritty if superheroes were real flick, as it revels in silly tokusatsu action. The movie gradually becomes more fantastical, with bits of reality peeking through here and there. Given a basis early on, these bits provide an earned sense of whiplash. The shifting feel of the movie also makes for a rewarding evolution of the narrative. And of course, it all comes to a head in the climax, which I'll discuss now, so spoilers until this time, and let's get to it. Responsible for the series of recent crime is an army of gooey aliens who take over the bodies of their victims. They had crash-landed decades ago, sabotaged by one of their own. However, a school was built on the crash site. The saboteur then disguised himself as a human and wrote Zebraman to warn humanity of the invaders' return. Got all that? It's absurd, but that's the fun. For that matter, if you've engaged with classic Toku before, you know it almost always goes back to aliens. On top of that, Japan enlists the help of the United States, who intends to drop a neutron bomb on the alien base. Mirroring nuclear warfare, the inspiration for the godfather of kaiju tokusatsu, Godzilla. Between its silly plot, subject matter, and thematics, Zebraman fully embraces its homage to early tokusatsu. Ichikawa heads into the gymnasium where the aliens lie. Before filming the final brawl, Aikawa injured his leg. Even in the face of this setback, he resolved to perform all stunts, including the finale. A true display of the actor's pride. This is his 100th movie, irrevocably. Zebraman battles a giant accumulation of the aliens in a cathartic climax. Saving the day, Ichikawa earns the respect of the town, closing the story. One thing I like is that the film suggests a relationship between him and Shinpei's mother, Kana. I'm so thankful Ichikawa's end reward is not his wife and daughter welcoming him back into their life again. Ichikawa's daughter practically pretends he doesn't exist, and his wife sees other men. I don't want to see him back with people who treated him so poorly. He never should have had to go out of his way to earn their affection. So I'm glad their admiration is not structured as the validation of his heroics. Instead, the camera highlights Kana and Shinpei along with the newfound appreciation Ichikawa's son, Kazuki, feels for his father. The boy did not dislike his old man, only the bullying that he was never responsible for. Like Kana and Shinpei, Kazuki believed in Ichikawa to save the day. And that's what makes their cheers more important than the crowd's. Before revealing the mass of civilians, an agent who helped Ichikawa along the way says,
いい気になんなよ。ねえ。みんなさ、あんたじゃなくて、ゼブラマン待ってんだから。
However, that's not entirely true. His son and the Asanos cheer for Ichikawa rather than his alter ego. Zebraman understands the fallacy of stories like this, where a character endures hardships for respect that they shouldn't have had to fight so hard to earn in the first place. Thus the conclusion, although maintaining the satisfaction of such narratives, sets that in the background, instead foregrounding those who already loved Ichikawa for who he was. So in the end, the respect that is a result of his achievements matter less. Rather, the support he received prior to proving himself carries more weight. Ichikawa is able to believe in himself to save the day only because his loved ones had faith in him. At its simplest, and as the script utters, believe in yourself to make your dreams come true. However, Zebraman pleasantly complicates this with the winding question of where does one's self-belief begin? In one's own mind or in the hearts of loved ones? At the end of the day, Zebraman is a phenomenal watch, especially for fans of Tokusatsu. Aikawa owns the lead role as both the lovable otaku and triumphant hero. The film's unique, moving tone makes for a constantly entertaining viewing featuring more than a few laughs. Lastly, the rewarding ending displayed an acute insight into the movie's values. In fact, I think I loved this film even more on my second watch. Lifting the weight of adulthood with childhood dreams, Zebraman is a simple yet clever take on classic heroes. However, the Crusader wouldn't hang his cape there, as a new threat would rise in the 2010 sequel. So why not get right into it? Let's stripe evil once more with Zebraman 2: Attack on Zebra City. Harassed by the media and regretting his past actions, Ichikawa forfeits his superpowers. He awakes 15 years later in 2025, possessing no memory of his old life. He he discovers the grave influence of Kozo Aihara, governor of Zebra City, previously Tokyo, who enacted the law of zebra time, which permits the upper class 5 minutes a day to commit crime. Aihara's daughter Yui, aka the Zebra Queen, seeks to release the last remaining alien who lies dormant in a little girl named Sumire. Joining the resistance, Ichikawa must protect Sumire and end the Aihara reign. No, I can hardly believe what I just read either. What is this? Turns out Miike had a similar response. What kind of world is this? It's the year 2025? What's all that about? I had to make sure the same writer returned to pen this, and to my surprise, he had. But maybe he just had to get this story out there, so let's give it a chance. I'll start with my positives. Cinematographer Kazushige Tanaka improves upon his work in the previous entry with nice compositions and punchy lighting. The production design features a future gothic punk aesthetic. I especially enjoy it in the villain's intricate costumes. The visuals make a strong impact. And that's about it for my positives, so let's unpack the rest. One of the first things you'll notice is the tone. There are hardly any jokes. When the writing does decide to polish its comedy, it's not the soft slapstick of its predecessor, it's awkward.
お尻はもっとキュッとキュッとキュッと綺麗だ
Instead, its story is played in a largely serious manner. The melodramatic tone betrays the absurd premise as well as the prior movie. Coming from the original to this, I experienced severe whiplash, which is a running theme. Opening soon after the events of the first movie, now everyone knows Ichikawa is Zebraman. I preferred when the crowd had no knowledge of Zebraman's secret identity. In cases like this, I think about what-if plots. Like if Ichikawa continued his heroics, yet grew to question his self-worth apart from his alter ego due to the love for it over him. But the film opted for otherwise, and that's okay. Let's see how it handles its own scenario.
24時間マスコミや警察に監視されて家族や仕事無視だった
Well, that's awful! You can't even give him some happiness after the credits rolled? Near immediately he loses everything? Way to stomp on the satisfaction of the ending. His love interest Kana and son Kazuki are both absent in this sequel. So 2/3 of Ichikawa's rewards just yanked away. The payoffs of the first movie are excruciatingly invalidated. Fortunately, Shinpei returns. Unfortunately, very few interactions meaningfully necessitate him as the same character. Ironic that despite its heavier direction, the movie fails to capitalize on its own emotional potential. This is in part due to Ichikawa's amnesia. The protagonist's memory loss is just one quirk that makes his portrayal viewer repellent. He begins neither the lovable dork nor fantastic hero we last lauded. What makes matters worse is the lack of a big I remember scene where he's back to the old Ichikawa. As the movie continues, he becomes more Zebraman and less Ichikawa. The moments when he's the striped Avenger in the first movie still related to his character. He wanted to be a hero. His actions as this savior were influenced by individuals who held meaning to Ichikawa. In addition, he's already a proven hero. He's confident and without the insecurities that made his portrayal in the predecessor so empathetic. The limited emotional connection with other characters further simplify his heroics. He's merely a hero, save the day. Extremely basic. As if he didn't bore audiences enough, he takes nearly the first half of the movie to leave the resistance base. Little action alongside dull characters and scenery make his side of the story drag hard in the first act. On the flip side, the villain's portions are more entertaining at first, although still flawed. The mini-skirted zebra police are introduced like a big deal, but hardly do anything. They're a carryover from the Japanese exclusive Revenge of the Mini-Skirted Zebra Police, a short film to promote the movie that, mind if I give a quick review of now? The already scarce humor of the sequel is further stripped back here. Its occasional sexual instances can be uncomfortable, but it has some fun action. Though the lead lady does not get retribution in the short, she does in the feature work. Funny that this short film isn't even tonally consistent with the movie it promotes, which already tonally contradicts its predecessor. Also, it's neat that this sequel rewards viewers of the promo by acting to conclude it. But anyways, back to Zebraman 2, particularly its narrative. The plot is not tight at all. Governor Aihara initiates a search for the last alien in order to destroy it. He first bore witness to the creature when cleaning up the aftermath of the first movie. If he already knew the creature existed, why did he twiddle his thumbs until the middle of his leadership to hunt it down? What, was he waiting for the cameras to roll? A narrative is like a domino effect. A domino doesn't just fall, it needs another to tip it over. And even when there is method to the madness, it makes little sense. Such as to why Yui hopes to release the alien. Yui's primary goal is to spread zebra time globally. Meanwhile, she intends to free the alien and defeat it to be seen as a hero. How do these two relate? Even if you argue she plans to broaden her influence, zebra time expands on its own.
アメリカの17の州で来年からこのゼブラタイムが導入されると
There's no need to reawaken the extraterrestrial. Her motive and action are held together by rubber bands and chewing gum. And then there's Zebra Time. Its success is thanks to lowering crime rates. Which, no duh, crime rates would drop if illegal activities are made legal. What world is stupid enough to let this law pass? Were this its own movie, I'd accept Zebra Time as the device it is and move on. But this isn't its own movie, it's a sequel. In the first Zebraman, the oddities encountered were the result of otherworldly life forms. However, in Zebraman 2, society and its people act extreme and absurd. A sequel shouldn't ask me to suspend my disbelief further for something completely different than what its predecessor had. Not to mention, the original film had the benefit of its homage and tone. Its comedy and allusion to a silly genre took the edge off. So I could easily digest even its weirdest plot points. On the other hand, the melodrama of the follow-up gives it to you straight. Zebraman 2 hands you the dumbest story, no dressing, and asks you to swallow. And it's as appetizing as it sounds. We're thankfully winding up, but it's not over yet, so skip here if you're weary of spoilers, and let's get to it. Yui and Ichikawa are two halves of Zebraman. When Ichikawa forfeited his powers, his morality split between him, the good half, and Yui, the evil half. The narrative paints the possessed people Ichikawa killed as the product of his malice. To the story's credit, he didn't need to kill those body snatched. In the original, cornering a taken Kazuki, the alien escapes. So the possessed life can be spared, but not of Zebraman's accord. Furthermore, this is one of the last encounters of this sort. He had no way of knowing this nature of the possessions prior. Later in the first entry, an alien kills his host when losing a need for him. So even if Zebraman tried to spare these lives, the aliens could have axed them anyway. It'd be one thing for Ichikawa's blame to only pertain to his own self-assessment. Instead, the movie depicts these victims as objective proof of Zebraman's evil, when the outcome could have wound up the same and when he had neither knowledge nor ability to save them. As much as the narrative wants him to be, Zebraman is not responsible. The ended lives are likely an unintended implication of the original script. I like that this sequel tries to turn this oversight into something more, but it can't substantiate the plot point it becomes, thus debasing the proposed moral ambiguity of Zebraman. Unfortunately, this contrivance serves as the basis for the film's theme, which culminates when Ichikawa and Yui must join forces to defeat the now huge rampaging alien. In other words, Zebraman must embrace his virtue and villainy to save the day. Witnessing her lackey sacrifice himself to save her, Yui understands the need for selflessness in the world. She agrees to join forces with Ichikawa. Meanwhile, Ichikawa doesn't undergo any transformative scene to learn Yui's merit. He just knows he has to embrace his evil to save the day. But at that point, if he's only doing it to beat the big bad, the message is a glorified end the movie button. When character finds no intrinsic value in the lesson, theme is mere plot device. But then again, what worth is there in a moral that suggests knowingly be evil sometimes? As if the movie supports its own ethics. Yui's malevolence is given no validation, and jumping ahead, 0 sacrifices are made to save the day. So what was the need to indulge in his ambivalence? He's pure hero by the end. You made an awful message. The least you can do is have the balls to stand by it. Ichikawa and Yui merge to become the true Zebraman. Stop, It's like the movie's getting bored, so it's throwing anything at the wall to entertain itself. And the sad part is, stuff like this are some of its rare highlights. Zebraman must devour the alien, mimicking the in-universe reboot to save the world. It's not a built-up payoff, it's a cheap callback that makes for an unearned solution. Zebraman struggles to gulp down the creature, but at least Shinpei still believes. Or not. Thanks for the final insult to the character, the original, and fans. Really appreciate it. Finally, Zebraman, well, just look. No, it's not.
信じれば夢は叶う。
Nope, doesn't work this time. Ichikawa never doubted himself. Beyond that, you can't just copy and paste the previous message and pretend it's a glue that holds these works together. It's like if she said, "You've got a friend in me." Oh wow, what a great sequel to Toy Story. So DeviantArt Zebraman flies into space, the end. And that was Zebraman 2. I find it hard even calling it that. While it presents strongly in the visual department, it's unrecognizable as a continuation. Almost everything earned by the prior ending and even the protagonist's personality are insultingly ripped away. Its heavier tone only placed a magnifying glass to the story's mindlessness, and the final act along with the backwards superficial themes somehow outdid all prior idiocy. I'm burned out. You get it by now. There's no need to beat a dead horse. I don't want to end this video angry. Because at its heart, my anger is a product of my love for the first movie. So I'll close on what Zebraman means to me personally. I feel a kinship to Ichikawa. I love Tokusatsu, particularly Godzilla and other monster media. However, it's common in pop culture to mock tropes of these works like the rubber costumes. I remember when the first 15 Godzilla movies were announced for a Criterion release. Some fans of the label were outraged Criterion would publish such low-brow media. Not knocking anyone, but this is why I have problems trusting people with a dedicated Criterion section on their shelf. But point being, the content I like is often looked down upon. I also feel the weight that burdens Ichikawa. As a self-asserting critic who's about to get a degree in film, I'm expected to take pleasure in the poetically artsy, the classy and culturally astute. Pretty much the stuff you pretend to like to impress film bros. But for the most part, I don't care for that. I often prefer the silly, weird, and just plain fun. For fans of this media, Ichikawa's story is very validating. It's a movie about believing in yourself to be yourself, unashamed in the face of the world. And the accuracy of the relationship between Ichikawa and Zebraman astounds me. There's something I find so cozy about niche media that almost no one but I know about. It feels homey, like it belongs to me. almost more so regarding the personalities in media. I hold a strong affection for many characters to the point that they're like a part of me. I go through phases where I micro-obsess over a character and post them a lot on Discord and maybe have them as my icon too. I'll show a few examples here. This movie gets the attachment between fans and characters. Zebraman is a love letter to nerd culture and character lovers, and as vain as it sounds, sometimes it feels personally addressed to me. I've been Zibboyeye, or just Zib is fine, and thank you for watching. Zibbo bye bye!